So today, folks, we're going to talk about one of the most difficult things that you'll have to deal with on this journey, and that's how to heal from a narcissistic relationship once you've made that exit. Now, for a start, before we even go there, it takes a lot of courage, a lot of motivation. It takes a lot of strength to get out of a narcissistic relationship. And if you have made that exit, the likely outcome is you're feeling lost, you're feeling lonely, you're feeling depressed, and you're probably potentially feeling suicidal as well. So hopefully this video is designed to find you before that spiral, that death spiral gets any worse, because you've done the hardest thing that you'll ever do, and that's make that break. Now, there's plenty of people that won't have made that break yet. And if you're watching this and you haven't yet made that break, well, all of this is to come, and this content is for you. And I'm going to give you a step-by-step guide of what you're going to face, what you're going to deal with, and practical things that you can do to start to get your mojo back, to get your energy back, to get your motivation back, and to get your drive, direction, and purpose back. Now, before we even go there, it's highly likely that if you've been caught in a narcissistic relationship, that you've got a few, if not all, of the following symptoms. You've probably got big weight gain. Now, part of this is the psychology of being in a narcissistic relationship. For a start, energetically, you've been taking on energy that isn't yours. And not only that, but because you're with a narcissist, you want to feel unattracted. And part of the strategy subconsciously there is to put on weight. Well, we can start to reverse those symptoms for a start. Secondly, you're probably feeling depressed because your whole world has collapsed. You're probably feeling isolated. And not only that, but narcissists have a habit of being nasty, the final sting in the tail, and maybe they're still having a go at you. Maybe they haven't quite let you go. Maybe you're still their plaything in their mind, and they're still throwing barbed stuff at you. Very common for a narcissist because they're always right, and they hate to be out of control. So if you have made the exit, that will traumatize them for how long, it doesn't matter, and for long enough for them to get their next victim. That's the important part. Let's look at what narcissists do. They target somebody, and they love being in control. They love being right. They love you being wrong, and they'll undermine your confidence to keep you in their web. So your confidence has probably taken a massive hit if you're going through this, and that's a really difficult place to be. And I'm going to give you some stuff today, knowing that this stuff takes time. I'm going to give you the fast track, but I know that you're going to need time to heal. You're going to need time to process this, and you're probably going to need a little bit more time to be angry if this is new. And it's okay to sit with that for a while. But at a certain point, you're going to want to snap out of that. Because if you were, let's look at the worst case scenario. If you're suicidal and you were to end your life, then the narcissist wins. They win. They did what they came here to do. They chewed you up and spit you out, and they're not going to think twice about it. It probably won't be at your funeral, and they don't care. So the most empowered thing you can do is cut through that to break through it. And if you have to sit with anger for a while to get there, then that's perfectly understandable. It's a natural part of the journey, folks. So I'm not judging any feelings that you've got. But what I am here to tell you is that you broke out of that relationship. That takes a lot of strength. And you might feel you've got nothing left to give at the moment. You're going to need a recovery process. So the first thing you're going to want to do is to start getting your energy moving again, to start getting some of your mojo back. And the first thing that you can do to start restoring the balance is to take yourself out for a walk. It's not hardcore exercise, but what it will do, get your body moving again. It'll get you out in nature. It will start to energize. And there's plenty of videos on this channel to show you how to harness walking in nature to restore your energy and your soul. So that's another video for another time, but that's the first step. It's a practical step. Get out, start walking, start to get out in nature and to start to feel yourself energizing again. The second thing is to know that whatever state your health has got into, and I've had people on my thread saying, I've had cancer off the back of this. I've got terminal diagnoses, having been in that narcissistic relationship. Well, all I'm going to say to you is that there's always hope. Where there's life, there's always hope. There's always a chance that you can move through this. There's always a chance that you can do something more empowered and better, and that you can restore from that. There's always hope, regardless what the doctors tell you. And that's important to know as well. And what would I know about that? Well, I worked on the front line of the medical establishment. I was a nurse, and I used to work with people who'd been recently diagnosed with terminal illnesses. And I'm not going to tell you that all of them recovered. Absolutely not. We all die. It happens to the best of us. But what I will say is that I went on to study people that had gone in the face of medical advice, that had beaten the odds. And I have a ton of resources if you need a little bit of hope, if you need a bit of guidance, if you want some case studies of people that absolutely defied the odds. Nobody can heal yourself like you do. Never hand out that power. If your purpose isn't done, if you're not finished on this planet, if you have not done what you came here to do, then you can beat this. And to cover my backside, I'm going to say this isn't medical advice. You have to get a second opinion. But what I am going to say is that nobody gives a second opinion like you and your intuition. And the common factor in people that absolutely defied medical odds, defied what the doctors had to say, was that they didn't believe them. That's it. That's all I'm going to plant with you today. I'm not going to say that you're going to make a complete recovery. I'm not going to say you're going to be completely well again. And I'm definitely not going to say that this is a given. It's not. It takes an incredible state of mind and belief in yourself and desire to want to live, to go down that route. So you'll need all of those in place to stand any sort of chance, folks. But there's always hope. Where there's life, there's hope. Not only that, you've no idea who you're meant to meet on this journey and what life can give. And in my world, anyone that hasn't had a complete crisis in their life hasn't really lived or woken up. The dark night of the soul happens to all of us. It happens to all of us. Maybe you've had one before, maybe you haven't. But if this is your first, well, this is a good thing for you, because you're about to find out who your real friends are and who your time wasters or your fair weather friends are. This is like a big reveal. This is taking off the rose-tinted glasses of life and finding out who's who. Now, there might not be many people on that list. That's the reality for most people. People you think are friends, well, you're about to find out who really are your friends and who aren't. And not only that, but you can now start to meet other people energetically. Once you cut off a narcissist, once you say no, once you draw those boundaries, energetically your life changes. And when one door closes, another door opens. And you are the facilitator of all of this. It sometimes takes time, but this is the reality. From an energy point of view, we cut off negativity, cut off a big source of negativity. And once you restore yourself, you're opening the door to better things. Now, this is really important from an energy perspective. We've already talked about it's okay to feel anger for a certain period. But what you need to wake up to at a certain point is that angry thoughts are like boomerangs. The desire to want to do harm, the desire to want to see the narcissist hurt or dead. These are things that you might be thinking of. And I'm not going to judge that. I have thought similar things at certain points in my life, so I'm definitely not going to judge it. I know how it feels to be stung by the narcissist. So no judgment there, folks. But what I am going to suggest is that you want to reduce the time that you spend in that zone. Healing, trauma, stress management, it's not about healing instantly. It can happen when a certain level of motivation is there. But usually any sort of healing or stress management intervention or counseling intervention isn't there to stop you from feeling pain. It's there to limit the time that you spend in the pain zone. It's a really important distinction. Limit the time. You can't stop it. Nothing can stop it, but limit the time. And how do you limit the time? When you allow yourself to start thinking, who do you want to connect with? What do I want in my life? What would I love in my life? If this was a film and I'm writing the next chapter, what does the next chapter look like? And part of not knowing on the healing journey is feeling so hopeless that you don't think you deserve that next chapter, or you don't think it's realistic. We'll start by thinking, if I was a script writer for a story right now, what's the happy ending, and what does the next chapter look like? Really think about that, folks, because a lot of people that have been through this sort of, let's call it abuse, this difficult period in their life, this wake-up call to the fact that you were stuck with it in a narcissistic relationship, caught in a narcissistic web, is not allowing yourself to wake up. You have to rise above it. So the background today, we're going to rise above the clouds and we're going to see the light, folks. That is what today is about. It takes time, but you need to know how to set your mind to get the results when you're ready. And that is part of this process, folks. It's part of the process. Now, if you're still watching, then that means that you're here for a reason. And that also means that it will be in your best interests to subscribe and get more free resources from me to help you through this. And if you're watching this curious and you're still stuck in the narcissistic relationship, then you definitely need to watch this video here, folks, because this is designed to help. But you are supported. There are people here to help you, and I am here to help you.